Listen, my brain is simple. I see explosions, I see fun. The boomstick is a pyromaniac's dream, so if you too want to have fun with this weapon, I got you. These 5 tips for the Gunlance will improve the way you use this weapon. Remember, if I forgot anything, be sure to drop it in the comments below because my simple brain can only know so much. Tip number 1 is to use focus mode. I'm not going to repeat the whole ordeal of this mode, so I'm just going to cut to the chase. The really good reason to use this mode is so you can make sure your shield is always facing the monster to block attacks. And some attacks have increased range while you're using this mode. What this means is that when you're using the moving wide sweep attack as an example, with focus mode on, this attack has a longer reach than doing this attack without focus mode, which is why you should be using this mode, not only because you can aim your attacks, but to increase the range of your attacks. Next tip is to learn about the Wyrmstake Full Blast Combo, probably one of the strongest attack combos that the Gunlance can do, and if you're a huge fan of explosions, then you want this combo. There's quite a lot of ways to do the Wyrmstake Full Blast, so I'm here to tell you the easiest way to do it. Start off with firing a shell by pressing circle or B, then while holding forward, press triangle or Y to do the moving wide sweep. Then press triangle and circle or Y and B to do a Wyrmstake Full Blast. Then you can spam triangle or circle or Y or B to do the multi-Wyrmstake Full Blast. That's the whole combo. Obviously, when it comes to long combos like this, you have to be careful when the monster stops you from playing the game. But if you're a pro, unlike myself, whenever you do the multi-Wyrmstake Full Blast, there is a window where you can perform a guard point. This means that you can block attacks while you're doing this attack. The guard point happens when you see the shield glow white. This kinda helps with doing the combo or when the monster is active, but only rely on this if you know how to time your attacks with the monster's attack. Otherwise, don't rely on it too much because the window to get the guard point is quite small. I sometimes get lucky with getting a guard point while doing this combo. Another thing to know is that the Wyrmstake Full Blast relies on shells, which are these icons at the end of the weapon's icon bar. So, no shells means no Wyrmstake Full Blast. Although when you do this combo, you do reload your shells, so don't worry about it too much. Moving on to the third tip, which is to know your strongest attack, which is called the Wyvern's Fire. Another explosive move that can be done in many ways. You can straight up press and hold R2 or RT and press triangle and circle or Y and B to do this move. But what you're doing there is the slow version. There are a few ways to do the quicker version. One of the ways is to do the Wyvern's Fire straight after doing the Wyrmstake Full Blast combo. Another way is after pressing triangle or Y 4 times and then doing the fire attack at the end. You can also do one straight after a perfect guard. And the other one is something I'll mention in the next tip. That's pretty much all the ways that I know of, but if there's any more, I'm sure my comment section will tell everyone. Now there is a limit of how many Wyvern's Fire you can do, and it is shown at the start of the weapon's icon bar. You can only do a maximum of 2 before they go on cooldown. The cooldown will decrease over time, but whenever you land hits with this weapon, the cooldown decreases further, so don't be standing around waiting for it to come back. Also, as far as I know, if you fire charged shells by holding circle or B, you can decrease the cooldown even further. This leads on to the next tip, which is to reload. Firing shells or using the Wormstake cannon, which is the move where you stick an explosive into the monster, needs to be reloaded before you can do it again. Reloading can easily be done by pressing and holding R2 or RT, and then pressing circle or B. But you might have noticed that the shield glows white when you do this move. And if you remember what I said before, then you know that this move has a guard point. If you time your reload on time with the monster's attack, then you perform a perfect guard. And since you're performing a perfect guard, you can do a fast Wyvern's Fire as well. There's also the quick reload move, which is done by pressing the same reload input after doing almost any attack. This is great for both reloading your shells and quickly protecting yourself after doing an attack. The only downside is that it doesn't reload the Wormstake cannon. You have to perform the normal reload to get the cannon back. The last tip I can give you is about positioning. Obviously, Just by stepping 1 foot with this weapon unsheathed, you can tell that this weapon is heavy AF. It is the lance, just with the added feature of explosions, so it's just as chunky. Even though you have the moving wide sweep attack, if you don't position yourself correctly, then you'll be hitting nothing, or the monster will be behind you, giving you back shots. Which is why I said focus mode is useful for cases when the monster gets behind you. You can also use the shells to reposition yourself by adding a directional input when you fire a shell. That's all I have on the Gunlance. There's a lot of stuff you can do with this weapon, so there will be an actual guide on how to use this weapon whenever I find time to create one. Be sure to check out my previous video where I talked about 5 tips for the lance. That's it from me. Be sure to give the video a like so that more people can see this video. Subscribe to see more wild videos, and I shall see you guys later.